According to Mythos, 100% of you are subscribed. Good job!
Hello, hello. Welcome to the second installment where we're going over the lore of every single equation. In this episode, we're going to be going over the lore of every single equation of the preservation, which is honestly quite interesting. In particular, because I was surprised because I didn't see that much about the IPC. I was really hoping to learn more about them, but I did learn more about the architects, which to be fair is more close to Qlipoth than the IPC. The IPC blatantly ignore Qlipoth's order half the time. That being said, it was still a lot of interesting lore that I was able to find here and there. I love how the equations just mesh so well together with the sub path that they have, you know, because it's a combination between preservation and nihility, preservation and destruction, preservation and abundance. Those things lead to very interesting topics, so exploring them has been a lot of fun. Also, full disclaimer, yes, we're gonna be going over every single one of these in the human comedy, but we're also gonna be going over the Protean hero equations once they release next Tuesday, right? It's not this Tuesday, but the one coming up. Yeah, so we're gonna be going through those as well, and it's gonna be interesting. I cannot wait to see what they're gonna do with those lores, and I really do hope that we get to learn more about the IPC and also Harmony. Yippee! That being said, actually not yippee. I'm terrified about that actually. But yeah, that being said, I'm getting completely off topic. I'm hoping you all get to enjoy this video. Have a wonderful time, and I'll see you all at the end of the list. The Architect Scribe. You catch the scent of book pages. May the flowers in Alpani never wilt. That's your mother reciting one of Adrian's fables to you. The architects lifted their silver shields high to defend the land, crushing the sins of the flames of antimatter. But where have they gone? A flower blossoms deep in your brain, wherein you traverse the desolate city of Trodar, brave through the trenches in Sly Bilge, and climb the ruins of the war. In Alpani, they are full in bloom, nourished by forgetfulness. You pick up a blood-stained medal and record a stranger's name. The perished warriors are engraved in stones, and their shattered armor is sent back to their faraway homeland by boat. Then, you move on to the next world, following the footsteps of the architects to uncover another legend. The Dreamweaver. With a single clap of your hand, skyscrapers spring forth, towering to shelter the world. In the blink of an eye, birds take flight amidst the winds, and flowers burst into bloom upon dead trees. You knead the beautiful dream into your palm, molding it like Play-Doh as it starts to metamorphose effortlessly, until the waves of imagination crash upon the shores and time halts, capturing the narrative in its most captivating frame. In this instant, startling dreams and memes are banished, while 12 hours shimmer in the night sky, while vibrant festivals illuminate the darkness with revelry that lasts till dawn. You've created a world brimming with life, which prospers in joy and safeguards the smiles within people's dreams. The stars serenade, and a soft rainfall ensues. There you stand amidst the melody, without an umbrella, basking in the ethereal violet hue of the morning glow. This is a very interesting one, mainly because I feel like in my mind when I first saw the fact that this equation was both preservation and elation, it didn't make sense, but in hindsight, looking at it now, it makes perfect sense, especially because Dreamweavers are meant to just bring joy to Penacony, and technically speaking, they are safeguarding the happiness of Penacony, which perfectly fits both paths. And additionally speaking, just narratively it makes sense. Just having the preservation be a part of Penacony given their history. I love this. The Planet Purifier. On natural day number 10,238, the Cuvita Nebula's pollution has yet to clear. You sit atop the glass mountain. Before the leaked energy melted and evaporated, this was once the corner of a desert. Your modified body creaks and hums as you slowly adjust its readings. It then begins to absorb the remaining radioactive particles from the air and organize them into blazing, colorful crystals. On natural day number 27,349, the pollution of the third planet of the Cuvita Nebula has yet to clear. You planted a seed that has still yet to bloom. They mock you, saying that your efforts are pointless and that your home planet is now no more than a giant graveyard, doomed to never see life again. You turn the soil and apply a potion that accelerates the decay process. You walk every inch of this land in silence until the day that life returns to this planet. Okay, so this one has me a bit intrigued because I might have just gotten confused while reading this, right? But in the first half, it genuinely feels like this entity is trying to help out the system. However, in the second one, it feels more like they have given up, hence why they're using like a potion of decay. And it feels like they're trying to like just start over everything, sort of like how Dr. Primitive is. Like it feels like they legitimately are just trying to make the planet become the graveyard so that new life can sprout and be born anew from this location. At least that is my understanding. The Tomb Keeper. A cluster of silver frigates glides through the infinite darkness, their holographic cabins illuminated by the pale earth beneath your feet. The place contains a collection of defunct computers and cities long paralyzed lie smothered in moss and grass. You have no idea what secrets are buried beneath the rubble, only that it remains your duty to guard it. The rebels of the clan depart in foul words, venturing into the vast expanse of interstellar space. You yearn to leave as well, but the accusing eyes of your kin weigh heavily on you. You cannot betray your education, your family, or the primitive logic etched into your brain chip. Instead, you relinquish your physical form, merging your cerebral neurons with the fleet, just as the kindred who created you once did. You will guard the dead city for eternity, yet you no longer question for whom you protect this tomb. Okay, so is it bad that my first thought when I read the part of like brain chip was the freaking, I don't remember the name of the thing, but like the robot from WALL-E, the one that like took control over the ship. That was the literal first thing that came into my mind. And technically speaking, that character does fit both paths where you're trying to make sure that everybody is safe through the worst possible mentality that you could ever have. The Unsinkable. You had a beautiful dream in which you and your friends raised your glasses under 3 suns, toasting to the great peace. The dome hovering in the sky envelops the planet, shielding it from intense light and heat. It is the masterpiece you designed, and you witness with your own eyes how it crumbles at daybreak. Collapse, screams, bursts of gamma rays from the supernova. Your eyes, hands, and every single cell in your body wail in agony. The villains set the atmosphere on fire, reducing the tower that has stood for 290 amber eras to ashes. Deadly microbes are dancing on the ice crystals of Ring of Smaya, and you vow to make them suffer tenfold. You sketch the outline of the colossal ship that has ignited the galaxy. The bombs incinerate all viciousness under the night sky. before everything you cherish turns to ruins, you inflict the necessary devastation upon the enemy. The Civilization Correspondent. If there is one thing that should be despised by you, it is the barbaric concept that the weak are no more than prey to the strong. No matter how great a civilization may be, if their knowledge cannot reach the great heights of the sun in the sky, then it's doomed to be reduced to no more than a vassal. In the eyes of the IPC and other great forces, these nascent lifeforms are no more than cheap labor at the location of raw material extraction. You bring knowledge to the stars and attempt to force this knowledge on its inhabitants, letting these children suckle on wisdom as much as they want. From savage hunting to taking to outer space, the wheels of civilization are moving too fast to be stopped now. Much like a babbling child learns to run after sunset, a torment eagle that just breaks out of its shell takes flight immediately after its first call. Okay, so you probably heard my voice tone shift the moment I read IPC. Because yeah, like we all hate the IPC, they're absolute like bastards. But at the same time, I really love this equations lore because this is a preservation equation that goes against the IPC. Much like I keep always thinking that the IPC really are going against Clipoth's will. So seeing this honestly just brings me a lot of happiness. And I just feel like it's really cool to have like this sort of entity that worries about other people, where it's like, oh, like the IPC will consider them just like slave work, so we better educate them so that they will be safe from these sort of like grand entities. The Ecological Administrator. Through the dome of the ecosystem, you have an unobstructed view of the lush interior of the cabin. Tens of millions of residents come from lost worlds and obtain the safe haven they could only dream of. The space station, hovering high above the outer orbits of Astro 2, graciously opened its arms to those with tears of grief. You wave your arm and let it drizzle. When new shoots start growing, you awaken the sunlight. Insignificant humans harness the magnificent power of nature in an insignificant world, not for destruction, but to protect the vulnerable creatures in the world. You pick a fiery red fruit from the forest you have watered yourself. It tastes so sweet that even the fruit farmers would drool at the sight. People sing and dance, throwing you high into the air in celebration of the first bumper harvest. The Sentimental Guardian. The Wrath King's judgment extends across every inch of land illuminated by the stars, with the law of entropic restriction killing off song, dance, and poetry. He declared that words that evoke smiles usurp the authority of the emperor, and carefree citizens desecrate the crown. In the stifling winds, warmth no longer lingers, and under the oppressive night sky, even the insects dare not chirp in unison. You will rise up, embodying passion, and speak words of madness before the army. Bearing the burden of thorns, you will protect the books filled with stories and return fairy tales to the world. Steel-forged slaughters cannot kill laughter, and even billions of mechanical swarm cannot suppress the dreams of bliss. Dragging your blood-soaked body, you march into the iron jungle, setting fire to the absurd decrees. So, a quick sidebar. What do you mean by mechanical swarm with a capital S? Specifically, when the swarm is shown with a capital S, that means it's a propagation box. Are we gonna have a case scenario like we had with the Borisin, because we have Borisin and Mecha Borisin. Now I'm freaking horrified by the idea of Mecha Swarm. I need this to be okay. I genuinely need this to be part of the lore. I need to see the mechanical swarm, and I need to see Firefly's reaction to essentially like freaking words. I need to see the swarm in their own Firefly suits. The Pathless. This is yet another tragic calamity. The vessel is torn apart after encountering detestable pirates or bumping into a swarm looking for food. Dead bodies are floating in the vacuum, like goldfish in the water. For some reason, you think of the eccentric Bretadens, who believe that souls belong to the land, and those who die in a vacuum will be lost forever. You clean their bodies and stitch up their wounds, salvaging their last shred of dignity. The death of the unarmed is sprinkled into the sky, while their bodies begin their descent towards land. They burn in the atmosphere, transforming into shooting stars that carry wishes. For those with names, their departure starts from silence, yet the mourning is unceasing. The City Restorer. You lean against the window of the ship, with a desolate world in despair beneath you. The fires of war have utterly ravaged its land. The penetrative destruction of the antimatter bomb, even boring a new gaping maw over the plains itself, crushing the undercity in its wake. The people's heads lifted, their gazes trained on you. Those are the eyes you are unflinchingly familiar with, devoid of hope and sadness, with hollowed sockets that have eventually lost even the will to feel anger. But you do not despair. Even if the eternal night annihilated 100 amber eras of the Cardian Republic, you would sift through the earth for silvery vestiges of the past, all just to dig up its tapestries of history. Even more so for present-day Hollover, as long as its people survived, 1,000, nay, 10,000 decimations could not prevent the sprouting of civilization from blossoming once more. You will walk towards those numbered faces, rebuilding their walls for them, and restore civilization one tile at a time, one brick at a time. Children hold onto your hand, beaming out from under muddy faces as they point to a patch of scorched earth where once stood Hollover's most beautiful gardens, and where countless butterflies swarm only to be hunted by swooping hawks. The birds keep flying up, higher and higher to the very top of the Alort's library, where the silver discs tilt and the birds' chatter flusters through the air. You silently commit these words to memory, creating a mind map of the old Hollover. Rebuild the garden. You don't plan on giving anything up. Architecture can carry people's happy memories with it, and you are bound to see them recreated in your plans. Your records, words, and designs are slowly coming together, and starships from all over the galaxy trickle through to you alongside rescue teams. The lofty towers soar higher than before, beneath which gables shall never see the scourge of the homelessness. The potholes have all been filled, and a sense of apprehensiveness finally departs from those tormented eyes. You feel sorry. There are still lots of places waiting for you to revitalize. The elderly hand over their precious photos to you, trembling as the scholars integrate the surviving data. Hollover will become a brand new city, but it'll still keep those little bits that people cherish most. Because you are the best urban restoration specialist there is. You won't leave any smile behind. For smiles. This garden has been burned to smoldering crisp. You stand there like a composer, gradually piecing together the future of the city. The Heartless Giant. You feel a phantom pain. Your decaying legs are long gone. The screws bearing the emblem of the architects and the impenetrable giant shield were disassembled piece by piece and sold to the IPC as relics of preservation. You traded away the crystal oscillator that was your ears, etched with scars from wartime. You parted with the fused alloy arms, the corrosion from swarm blood still visible. You even took off the crystal sensors and sold that to them, your most proud eyes that once gazed at the Amber Lord. But it's still not enough, not by a long shot. Hunger and poverty are far worse than the chelicerae of arthropods. So, you made a deal, sacrificing the architect's mechanical heart, and in return, the people of this land will never weep from hunger again. Something brushes against your face. Perhaps a bird, or maybe even the sound of the people's joyful laughter. Sleep. That is what organic organisms call it. A break in the continuity of consciousness. It could also be seen as a form of death. That's right. You are a deceased giant. Just another of the countless machines left behind by the architects. But you can currently sense your own existence. Your gigantic body has concentrated heat sources distributed across it. You were once the size of a mountain range, and now you're even vaster. I am a world. You open your eyes. A giant nebula disperses in front of your eyes, like clouds over a vast ocean as starlight hits your sensors. No matter where you cast your gaze, all you can see is an endless sea of stars. Hey, could it be that you're space trash floating around in the universe? You desperately want to know where the people you once protected have gone. You even sacrificed your last mechanical heart to buy back their smiles. They have all left. You big idiot, look in here! You hear a call resound deep in your circuits, which irritates you slightly, but brings a greater sense of relief. You cast your gaze inside yourself, and atop a shining sphere of light stands a great city. In this city, tiny organic organisms wave back at you. You finally understand what has happened. The entire planet and all of their laughter are now inside your body. They have become your heart and your eyes and formed a new mission for this machine. I have succeeded. In the ancient past, you gave them a heart. Now, they have given you a star. This is really wholesome. Genuinely speaking, it made me so happy to just see that like the freaking planet that this entity saved became its heart. I know that they say like, oh, they've given you a star, but like in reality is that they became the heart of this giant. And I don't know, I was like worried, like, you know, when the options mentions like they have all disappeared and that they all had died, but actually seeing that they became one with the giant. The architects. When distant worlds fade away amidst the howls of destruction, the people of Baveli 3 would have never once fathomed that the ray storm heralding death and destruction would penetrate their magnetic field's protective measures, stripping their flesh from their bones. You lean against a window aboard the interstellar rescue ship, witnessing your homeland with your brethren rotting away, now a horrific hellhole. Even if you managed to flee in time, you'd have to sustain your health with genetic reconstruction medication for the rest of your life. The Reaper is a madman, knocking on the gates of every civilization without warning or notice. You finally understand the meaning of the wall-building journey of that foolish god. To survive, one must prepare for a rainy day. Your world may be dead, but there are many more who will still hold the right to live. You will build high walls for them, with their towering shadows interwoven into mountains that will blanket the sky, like the embracing arms of their mothers and fathers that will protect them from rain and snow, storm and frost. The underground alarms are ringing on the Resplendescence, the highest level threat looming. Locked and loaded, the Annihilation Gang has assembled thousands of warships and is ready to peel open this fruit of preservation. Eat its flesh and bone, while grinding its seeds to dust. The high walls of the architects can finally demonstrate their role under the close scrutiny. People praise you for your vision, but you can't help but feel a shred of loneliness deep inside you. You, the builder of this fortress, are also the one who least wishes to see it put into action. In the blink of an eye, fierce artillery rains down onto the barrier, protecting the planet. Stay your ground. A deafening roar was accompanied by violent tremors, signifying that the first line of defense had been breached. The shields covering the sky shattered under the withering attack, showering voluminous shards onto the second protective barrier. No longer under the sky's dome protection, the densely packed weaponry on the second protective barrier unleashed free bursts of firepower on the enemy ship. Attack is the best defense. Even the architects know that much. Command from the rear. For the first time ever, you've truly experienced the anxiety slowly right down to the bullet time as the battle rages day and night atop the vaulting walls of Resplendescence. A group of architects rushes up, and when the wall collapses, even more people flood the gap and become a part of the wall's foundation. The attack of the Annihilation Gang grows ever fierce, but you know they have hardly anything left to give, and have been forced to go all in on this desperate battle for survival. The sun's coming up. With the sky dome no longer up, Resplendescence gazes down on the land once more. You dream of Baveli 3, those fallen smiling as they say goodbye beneath the amber glow. Alright, and with that we have gone over the lore of every single equation that can be found within the human comedy in the path of the preservation. I genuinely feel that a lot of these were really intriguing. One of the things that I'm a huge fan of, by the way, is the fact that there are 3 equations in here in total that follow the path of preservation, with the elation being the subpath, which is something that I really hope is just indicative of what's going on in the IPC. I feel like maybe this is just like my conspiracy lore moment, right? But it's just so funny that every single one of the IPC members that we have gotten so far have the mechanic of the follow-up attack. I also considered Ratio into this little like IPC adjacent, because he works for the Intelligentsia Guild, which works for the IPC. Still, like, all of them focus on follow-up attacks, which is part of the elation. So a big part of me really hopes that what they have been following this whole time wasn't the preservation, but rather the elation playing a prank on them. That being said, my opinion is about to get very biased because, funnily enough, the two equations that I think I enjoyed the most throughout this bunch had to be both the Heartless Giant as well as the Sentimental Guardian, both of which just happened to be preservation and elation. I feel like their lores were quite intriguing, a little bit dark, but also had like their own messages of hope. I don't know, maybe just elation is an interesting subpath, so I actually cannot wait for when we inevitably get to the elation as a path in this series. I've been really excited reading a lot of these, and now that I look at it, none of these are an equation combined with the propagation. Ooh. I mean, it makes sense. They, like, Clipoth literally eradicated the propagation out of existence. But it just dawned on me. Yeah. What the hell? So yeah, like, well, that quick little fact aside, it has been a lot of fun. I cannot wait for the next chapter where we're going to be going over the hunt. If I recall correctly, yeah, the hunt. We're going to be going over the hunt, and there's the Galaxy Rangers in there. I cannot wait to read what's coming up ahead. But yeah, I'm making this outro way longer than I have to be. I hope you'll have a wonderful rest of your day, night, morning, whatever time zone you're watching this video at. And yeah, I appreciate you all. Bye-bye.